What's up, everybody? Welcome into Group Chat Football Live. I'm Peter Ariz alongside D Money, and this is our national college football show where we talk recruiting, transfer portal, coaching movement, and much more in the crazy world of college football. We actually have breaking news that just popped here in the last 20 minutes or so here, as one of the top defensive line prospects in the country is now off the board. Four-star defensive lineman Jermaine Kinsler has now committed to Texas A&M. This is someone that we've spoken about before here. Just visited Michigan. We did a video on Michigan recruiting recently. And Kinsler's a guy, plays basketball as well, 6'7", 270, had offers from the likes of Michigan, Ohio State, Miami, where his brother Tommy plays, and A&M is the choice.
Yeah, and you look at Texas A&M and what they are building through recruiting and the portal. A lot of size, lot of length. You know, Lamont Rogers, right? Keati Armstrong from the high school ranks, transfer portal, Sam Mpemba, TJ Searcy, even Julian Humphrey as a corner. These are big, long, athletic players, and you're seeing some of that here with the class of 26, landing Jermaine Kinsler, 6'7", up to 270 pounds. Former basketball player, number one player in New Jersey. He actually still plays basketball. His brother is an offensive tackle at the University of Miami. So he's originally from Ocala, Florida. So you're Texas A&M, not a lot of local ties, right? You're getting a Florida kid who lives in New Jersey to go all the way to College Station. So a major recruiting coup. Number one player in New Jersey from this powerhouse program that we all know, Bergen Catholic. And this is somebody who I don't think is a finished product on the defensive line, but you see him playing tight end. You see him running around. He is a basketball player. He has that mobility. I saw him in person this past spring, almost a year ago, I guess, and he was definitely all of 6'7", lanky guy. He probably is going to be a 300-pound type player on the defensive line, a defensive end that could set the edge with some athleticism. Still raw. I wouldn't say he's a finished product, but as you see with guys like Mpemba and Searcy, they are trying to load up on body types, guys with the tools to be coached up in Mike Elko's system. And it's a big get, man. Michigan looked like they were in on this one. They were going to be probably the favorite. Ohio State, Auburn also in there. Of course, Miami, where his brother is. He visited last spring. But Texas A&M, led by defensive line coach Son Spencer, gets a huge recruiting win.
The movement skills, man, that's what I see with it. And look at this. I'll show this real quick here. This was last weekend, February 2nd, or so. Excuse me, sorry, don't have it up here. Let me pull it up. But this was last weekend here with Coach Moore at Michigan. So this was February 2nd, and this is a big win for A&M, fresh off that Michigan trip.
Yeah, you look at some of the comments they gave to 247 about the commitment. He says, Coach Spence, is Sean Spencer, the defensive line coach, has been hitting me up since the start of the recruiting process, and I felt like it was home. I love how he coaches guys. His nickname is Coach Chaos. That should tell you everything you need to know about him. A lot of comments about Texas A&M being like family, the coaching relationships. Really, that is mainly what he talked about, was the coaching relationships, not so much, the location. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but again, this is not a local kid. So very much you chalk this win up to good recruiting, a good staff, good chemistry. This bumps up Texas A&M's class, which already has 9 recruits in the class of 26, which is a lot, up to number 2 in the 247 ratings. That's the number 1 class in the SEC, right behind Oregon in the overall ratings. Again, very early. When you go to a state like New Jersey that regularly produces first-round NFL talent, and you land the number 1 player in there from a big program like Bergen Catholic, that's a huge move. And this is a school that has other great players as well, highly rated guys in the defensive backfield and beyond. So, it's a school you want to get into, certainly, if you are Texas A&M and Mike Elko.
Yep. I mean, look, if he stays in that weight room and the physicality comes out of, because you know how those basketball guys are. Sometimes you gotta really get that toughness out of them, but the frame is there. That just not too many guys. It's that combination of the frame and the movement skills that can really be a scary thing down the line. So huge get here for the Aggies, a guy with a ton of potential, and we'll track him this year, man. I think, like you said, not a finished product yet, so can really take a big leap in his senior year. And we'll track all these guys. The senior film tells you a lot because guys, this is football. Their bodies are constantly changing. We mentioned the toughness, the physicality. That's not always there from the jump, right? So a guy like him, I think his senior film could be a lot more eye-popping than what we even just saw right now.
Yeah, and again, a lot of pressure on Coach Spencer to develop these guys. Look at the portal. We talked about it earlier. Guys like Mpemba, guys like Searcy, highly rated guys out of high school that have the length, that have the athleticism, but don't have necessarily the production that you want yet as far as portal additions. Sometimes these portal guys come in ready to rock. Sometimes you're getting them almost like recruits where they still have development left. Texas A&M has leaned, to me, more towards the developmental side when it comes to their portal class, getting very explosive wide receivers who maybe haven't produced as much as you want them to. They've had flashes, certainly, but they're not like, 1,000-yard receivers coming in. These are guys that you're developing. And then on the defensive side, same thing. You're seeing that also with the recruiting class last year, which I thought was a really, really nice class for Texas A&M. A lot of good body types, a lot of exciting developmental prospects with big upside, good evaluations. And now you're seeing that here in 26. Getting a guy like Jermaine Kinsler, who, if he's 6'7", 305, 310 pounds, moving around well, that's an NFL player, and someone's going to help you in the SEC.
Wanted to get to Ohio State here on Group Chat Football Live. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. The Ohio State fans, man, they showed out for us big time. Last time we had a Buckeyes video here, and we were talking about the offensive coordinator search, and a lot of what we talked about there we'll get into a bit here with Brian Hartline officially being named offensive coordinator last week. But just wanted to get into this offseason of change for Ohio State D. Of course, yesterday's news with Matt Patricia, as he's going to be the defensive coordinator. He was obviously a long-term Patriots coach, former Detroit Lions head coach. And we'll get more into his background here. But again, man, when you're the champs, you have to understand there's going to be a lot of change. Ryan Day got over the hump, as we all know. That scrutiny, it's gone for now. But he's had to make some really important decisions, and they haven't been, it's one thing to say it's an important decision, but they haven't been easy choices either, right? Hiring from within with Brian Hartline, a guy who has been coordinator in the past, but has never called the plays as he's going to do now with Chip Kelly moving on. And then on the defensive side of the ball here, Matt Patricia, honestly, a guy who has not had much success out from underneath Bill Belichick as a defensive coordinator, did not work out as the Lions head coach, took over the play calling duties for the Eagles in 2023 defensively. They didn't see much of an improvement there from Sean Desai from when he took over the play calling duties there. So again, not much recent success here with Patricia on the defensive side of the ball. Hartline, a completely unproven play caller who's going to be with a new quarterback there. So just in general, man, I mean, what do you make of all of this change right now at Ohio State?
I see someone in Ryan Day who's taken a lot of criticism as recently as the end of this past season, regular season, ends up proving the doubters wrong, winning the national championship. And when something like that happens, if you're Ryan Day, you're saying, man, all these people try to tell me how to do my job. I stuck to what I believed in, and I'm the national champion. And now I'm secure. So the last thing I'm going to do is do what everybody thinks I should do if I don't believe it, right? I'm going to do what I think is the best thing for this program. And I have the confidence that, number one, I'm not going to get fired, right, anytime soon because he just won the championship. And number two, that if it's something, I don't have to listen to what everybody else says, because when I listen to myself, even if it didn't work out immediately, ultimately I was proven right by my decisions and we won the championship. So I think he's very much emboldened, and that's allowing him to do things that he wants to do. Hartline, we know the story there. Elite recruiter. Jeremiah Smith would not be at Ohio State without Brian Hartline. Ohio State would not be holding that national championship trophy without Jeremiah Smith. So the recruiting alone for Brian Hartline speaks for itself. Of course, he was an NFL player, very, very good one. Very good player in college. I thought he was a very good NFL receiver in his prime down here in Miami. We saw him a ton. So he's somebody who knows the position very well, of wide receiver, has proven to be a developer of wide receiver talent on top of being a recruiter. When you see his NFL track record, now calling plays, whole new horizon. He's been learning under Ryan Day. It's time to see what he's got. Ryan Day, I think, could always step in and call plays if he needs to. Obviously, he doesn't want that to happen, but this is a guy in Heartline who has been building to this moment, and I think that makes sense. I think Day's saying, look, it doesn't work out, I can always step in. When it comes to the go ahead, Pete.
No, well, and just real quick on just to touch on the offensive coordinator and Brian Hartline, he spoke to 11warriors.com the other day, and he said, great honor, very humbled by it. I mean, coach can select anybody in the country he wants to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, and he trusted me to be one of those guys, so it means a lot. So he said that he could have chosen anyone in the country, but we spoke about it on the other video, man. I think it was going to be a very tough for him to say no to Brian Hartline, considering what we just spoke about, not only Jeremiah Smith, his track record, bringing in talent and developing it, but like, is there a chance that if he's not the guy, there's some worry about what happens with Jeremiah Smith, considering, again, you're replacing the quarterback here?
Yeah, look, it's stability in a time of a lot of change, right? Even though he's a new play caller, he's been around the program. He knows the lingo. He knows how Ryan Day operates. He knows the personnel. So it's a stable decision, even though he is new to calling plays. And worst case scenario, I think Ryan Day takes over and calls plays. I don't think he's planning on that. I don't think anybody wants that or expects that. I think the plan is just going to work. And Brian Hartline will be one of the best young offensive coordinators in America. On the defensive side, I think that one to me is more questionable on paper from the outside because, like you said, Patricia has not had a lot of success away from Bill Belichick. He's had some high-profile failures. Wasn't really doing much last year as far as on-field coaching. So it's definitely a risk. He also has, there's some off-the-field stuff from way back when, but when things aren't going well, people are going to point to that indictment on sexual assault when he was back in college, because that's what happens when things don't go well and you have those kind of things in your background. Obviously, I'm sure Ohio State did a comprehensive background check and feels good about that whole situation. It's not like he hasn't been hired a million times after that. It's just something that we all know how college football is. Things don't go well. Those sort of things get amplified. One thing that I take from this is Ryan Day was an NFL guy. He was a quarterback coach of the Niners. He was in the NFL for a while, so he has a different kind of respect for NFL guys, and he's not afraid to make maybe unpopular or controversial picks with a guy that he believes in from that NFL level. Chip Kelly being the most recent one. Of course, Chip Kelly was a college guy when, in terms of being at UCLA as the head coach and when he did at Oregon, but Chip Kelly had that NFL experience as well. So I think that is something that Ryan Day really respects and values in some of these coaches, is that NFL experience, because he himself has that NFL experience.
This is a really interesting quote from him, and I believe this was from the media row at the Super Bowl, and this is from Front Office Sports, as he said he was intrigued by the idea of coaching in the NIL era. So this is last week, and this was before this news became official. So obviously there might have been something in the works here, but he says, it's free agency every day. You can build your rosters really quick. I love the direction it's going. So this is hilarious because this is completely opposite of what you hear college coaches behind the scenes saying, that they want to actually get to the NFL, most of them. Not all the head coaches want to do that, but a lot of the assistants want to do that because they don't have to deal with this recruiting in the portal. But it is funny because I think that's something that probably deterred a lot of NFL coaches in the past was, man, you really have to be there for a few years to turn a situation around. Whereas in the NFL, you get a couple strong draft classes in a row and you sign the right guys and you could be good right away. So I think that's kind of where he sees it transitioning.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how he's received in Michigan, right after Detroit didn't work out so well. I'm sure there's a lot of crossover between Lions fans and Wolverines fans, so they're not going to be too excited to see Patricia. But he's someone who's, his whole thing that he's always said is he likes to adapt to the talent that he has. So we'll see how he adapts to that talent, like you said, with the NIL, the one-year free agents, the kind of players he targets. Ohio State's recruited so well on the defensive side of the ball They don't need a ton of help in the portal, but they lost a lot, right? You lost a lot of guys to the NFL draft.
8 guys defensively that they're losing. So
yeah, impact guys. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But I think what you're seeing is, I don't want to say it's a Ryan Day heat check, but it's Ryan Day doing what he wants to do, because in his view, and how could you argue with him, he's earned the right to do what he wants to do.
Yeah, and look, Ohio State fans are probably going to get on me in the comments and say that I sounded a bit negative in my tone, and it's just, I agree with what you're saying. He can do, Ryan Day can do what he wants. He shut everybody up this offseason. But like, these are the decisions that either keep you at the top or, I mean, really see you take the steps back. So it's going to be intriguing to watch this year, without a doubt.
Yep. Comment here from Jacoby Graggs. You see him. He says, "You guys see the Rob Ryan press conference?" You can see that on Group Chat Sports. We clipped it up and put it out there, Jacoby. So if you want, we definitely saw it. It was a great video for us, but huge number of people loved it.
I have a feeling there's going to be some more moments like that, man. And we're looking forward to spring ball here, as he, whatever you call it, as he says. So we'll have you guys covered with all those funny moments. Keep it locked on Group Chat Football Live. Short live show today, but we have more content coming today. So stay tuned on the page. Have a top 5 videos for transfers in terms of the SEC and basically off season. So looking at which programs have the best off seasons. And we're going to do that across the land, right? So every conference, we're going to do that here in the coming weeks. And again, keep it locked on Group Chat Football Live and Group Chat Sports. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. See you guys later.